Good evening. Welcome and welcome back. It is Kesha, and we are on our ninth commandment of Prosperity's 10 Commandments. Gotta move this back just a little bit. There we go. If it's Monday, I must be wearing my favorite blue shirt. Don't want to break tradition now that it has become one. So let us begin by closing our eyes and getting centered. Just take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Deep breath in, remembering just how much we love being in this space. Deep breath out of anything that's not like it. Just continue with a few more deep breaths. And you'll see a column of white light descending it down over you. Feel its coolness. Notice the sense of peace and calm it provides. With each breath, feeling it, the white light, calming the mind, expanding the heart, opening our vision. And in this space, gently open your eyes and we'll begin. Great. So, the ninth commandment of Prosperity's 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness against the source of thy wealth. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. The ninth commandment has to do with the essential nature of truthfulness. To bear false witness is to be untruthful, and any intent to deceive is a violation of this commandment. One who conscientiously observes it in the letter may still be violating the spirit of it. The man who prides himself on never telling a deliberate lie, but who cleverly manages to convey false impressions, is not only untruthful but dishonest. Taking pride in a virtue which he does not possess, he is dishonest with himself. Exaggeration, insinuation, detraction are all forms of conveying false impressions. Even listening to gossip is bearing false witness, because it means being receptive to false ideas and possibly perpetuating them. I cannot stand gossip. I truly cannot. Any acceptance and assertion of evil is falsifying. Stating that our neighbor is ill and discussing his symptoms is bearing false witness against the Christ life within him. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have anything positive to add to the conversation, you can keep it quiet. Affirming to others that he is poor or unsuccessful or involved in debt or disaster of any kind is bearing false witness against God's truth in the situation. And how oftentimes have we heard that from people who are otherwise religious leaning, if not devout in whatever practice they hold? Oh my goodness. All that we call evil in this realm of form is a mute testimonial to the devil, the father of lies in man's consciousness. If we've not had this conversation, the devil is simply an entity that we give our power to. We created ourselves. Peter referred to the devil as the adversary, that which is adverse to God's good, therefore the great lie, because there is no absence of that good. Jesus described the devil as the tempter, that which in man's consciousness tempts him to believe in the false and to assert it. And yielding to the tempter, man accepts the evidence of his senses and fails to stand fast upon the truth of God's presence. In so doing, he disobeys Prosperity's ninth commandment. Thou shalt not bear false witness against the source of thy wealth. Man's early existence is a strange paradox. He is a changeless being moving in the realm of constantly changing conditions. He is God's image and likeness, a triumph of spiritual perfection, oftentimes moving amid conditions of sin, disease, poverty, and death. These conditions exist in his sense realm as self-evident facts, having no existence apart from the false beliefs that they embody. We call such conditions evil. Every evil is an embodiment of a false belief in the mind of an individual or an accumulation of false beliefs in what is known as the race mind. Mind is creative of nature and thought is its action. Through the process of thought, mind projects its ideas into the realm of form. When the ideas generated in mind are true to the spiritual power that enables man to be, to think, and to act, they appear in the realm of form in ways that make for peace of mind, health of body, and abundant well-being in circumstances, which are the extended body. The word circumstance means that which stands around or encompasses. Just as our thoughts affect our body for good or evil, even so their far-reaching influence determines the nature of the conditions that surround us. Psychological research, which has made such strides of late, reveals that thought action operates under certain established laws of the mental realm that are amazingly similar to the laws operating in the physical realm. As a result of the operation of these laws of mind, we find that our body and circumstances are the inevitable outpicturing of our thought action. We may think of them as our solidified thought, as thought condenses into form. That's why we say thoughts are things, right? Our thought is indicative of the way that we are seeing things. Jesus said, "If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." He was telling us in his poetically powerful way that if we keep our thought focused on God and his presence, we shall be holding in mind only that which is true. Therefore, our whole body, mind, body, and circumstances will be full of light. In other words, there will be no shadow of evil, nothing false in our life. Yeah, seek the good and praise it, right? Every time we say, "I am poor," we are failing to keep our thoughts single to the truth of God's presence. In his presence is the fullness of supply for every need. Every time we talk about poverty, we are bearing false witness against God, for we are denying his presence. We are definitely stating that there is an absence of the presence of God in our affairs. God is everywhere present. That is what it means to be omnipresent. So we can't hold two ideas in mind at the same time, right? So we have to, if we're going to speak words of lack, we have to recognize that we're not seeing God in the experience. Seek the good and praise it. We know this cannot be true. So instead of bearing false witness against God, we should courageously face the condition in the positive knowledge that it is not true and has no place in our circumstances, which are impregnated with his presence. That's why the effects of denials are so positive, especially when we're confronted with a difficult condition or hard situation. We can deny that the situation as we think we are seeing it is real, and thus take the power and the negative charge out of it. And then once we've done that and we come back to recognizing that God is in everything present, and in that difficult situation is an opportunity for us to manifest God's goodness in a way that we had not previously heretofore seen or thought possible, then we can turn to affirmations reminding us of the power of God in his movement in our life. Quietly and persistently, we should proceed to overcome evil with good by keeping our thoughts centered on God's omnipresence and his goodwill for us. We should also follow Jesus' instructions and make a secret transaction with God in which we accept gladly, praisefully, the particular gift we are asked for at that moment. And thy Father who seeth in secret shall recompense thee. All the laws in God's universe of law are immediately operative upon our unquestioningly accepting God's good, with the inevitable result of giving form to this good. Remember, it takes two to carry out a gift transaction. There must be a giver and a receiver. We talked about that in last week's lesson, that one is not more elevated than the other, and that it takes both for either of them to work. There must be both a giver and receiver, the one who offers and the one who accepts. Until that which is offered as a gift is accepted, there is no consummation of the transaction. Through his very presence within us and all around us, God offers us eternal life with all its inherent perfection. At any period of our existence, we manifest as such, as much or as little as we are willing to accept of him. Yeah, we're able to accept at the level of our consciousness, right? That's why it behooves us to see greater, that we can receive greater. Jesus instructed us not to resist evil, but to overcome it with good. At the same time, he was very positive in his injunction that we must resist the devil. Not sure where she got that. There is also no conflict between these two statements. The devil is the tempter, the adversary, the temptation in our own mind to think in ways that are the adverse of God's good. Every such thought bears false witness against God. It is a lie, and as such it must be resisted. We must say, as Jesus said, "Get thee hence, Satan." In this way, we turn our back upon it, and it fades away into the limbo of forgotten things, while we press forward, eagerly reaching towards God's good. When we accept lack of any good thing, we are bearing false witness against God. We are denying both his omnipresence and his goodwill. We are accepting certain things as facts that should be declared untrue. Again, we go back to the power of denial. The average person confuses facts with truth. Webster's dictionary defines a fact as a natural happening in time or space. It also says, fact in its primary meaning, as an object of direct experience, is distinguished from truth. A fact, which we might say may be true or false. The finding of a wrong answer to a problem in arithmetic is a fact, but the wrong answer itself is recognized as a false fact, erased, and every effort is made to find the right answer to the problem. Every appearance of lack is a false fact, and as such should be vigorously denied. This divine discontent we may sometimes feel when we feel hemmed in by our particular circumstances is nothing more than God tapping at our heart, trying to get us to expand greater, right? So where we are comfortable, we may not recognize the power of God working through us. But when we get to that level of divine discontent where it seems like nothing you do is enough and you feel like there isn't enough and you want to do more and be greater, that is God moving in and through you, looking to help expand you to be greater and receive greater. Denial is the erasive action of mind. When we refuse to accept a false fact, we have taken the first step towards erasing it from our consciousness. The next step is to fill the mind with faith in God's omnipresence and his goodwill, knowing that whatever we hold in mind must inevitably find its way into form. I think we'll leave it there for now and then come back to the rest of the ninth commandment on Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you then. And think on where you are, homework for the next 2 days, think on where you are bearing false witness. Think of where you are not seeing God's action positively in your life, and begin the process of denials and affirmations to reassert your vision of God's presence. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. I love you in the meantime. Bye.